It's Giants week, so the Ravens are definitely going to be seeing some very familiar faces. Jihad Ward, Tony Jefferson, and of course the one that's being talked about the most, Wink Martindale, Ravens' former defensive coordinator. So this should be a really good one. But I'm no expert on talking Giants. I mean, I'm really not an expert at anything. But I decided that I needed to bring not one, but two Giants experts on so we could talk New York football, see what's going on up there, and just how they think this game is going to go. Team, keep it clean. Let's get it.
Yeah, this feels like a dream, and you know just what I mean. You see my boy, he like gotta made it. Boy, he's a fan, and he like the Ravens, and you know just what I mean. You two team, keep it clean. You see my boy, he like gotta made it. Boy, that's my homie, ain't that right engraving.
Team, keep it clean. Two very special guests in the building joining me to talk Ravens and Giants. My guy Kid Blue in the hub from the Young Guns podcast. First off, you know what? Introduce yourself. Let everybody know where to find you and exactly what it is that you do.
Go ahead, baby.
Okay. All right, I'll go first. All right, what's going on, guys? Kid Blue, RB27. Make Giants content. Try to get around to making NFL content, but we usually just make Giants content. Huge film guy. But yeah, you can find me, Kid Blue, RB27, on Twitter and on YouTube as well.
Okay. So what up, guys? It's Kush. I usually start off by saying a big year with a nice New York welcome for everybody that is probably from New York. My name is Kush, but you know me as The Hub. That's my channel name, just like Kid Blue over here. I am a mainly Giants channel. I haven't had much time this past year to make videos as I used to, but if you go back, you'll see I used to be grinding. I focus mostly on editing. I try to have a nice presentation with it, both on stream and in the videos. Appreciate it if you guys could go over there and give your boys some love. But thank you for having us on, Ingraven.
Oh yeah, for sure. And to get straight into it, with Ravens fans, the biggest talk of this game has been Wink Martindale. How has he been as Giants defensive coordinator? Because we know the record. We know y'all are 4-1, but a lot of times the record, it doesn't tell the whole story. But what is the whole story when it comes to Giants defense this year?
It has to be the injuries that we face, and that could be said for the offense as well. Whenever we talk about Brian Daboll, but Wink Martindale is legitimately, I feel, making a strong case through the first 5 games of the season for an assistant coach of the year award, which I wouldn't be surprised if he gets by the time the year's end comes around. Because you think about how this defense is performing, we're an incredible second half defense. The best example being this comeback when we just had against the Packers, where we allowed 20 points in the first half, but we gave up 0. The score at the end says 22, but that was a strategical safety that we decided to take on ourselves to kill the clock at the end of the game. But we gave up essentially 0 points to the Packers in the second half. And so you're a good defense just when it comes to points. You're a good red zone defense as well. And we're doing that with tons of injuries at every single level of the defense. We still don't have both of our starting edge rushers healthy. Leonard Williams, who's arguably the best player on this defense, has been out since, halfway through the Carolina game. What else is there? Our 2 starting linebackers are out. We're down 3 or 4 corners right now. Yep. Safeties as well. We had to bring in a well-known Baltimore Raven, Tony Jefferson, for some safety help because we were going down there. I'm going to let KB take it over if you got anything else to add.
I think the biggest thing to applaud Wink for is just working with what you got. You know, we came into this season with a decent defense. I don't think we expected it to be this good. You know, in past years, the Giants really struggled on third down, getting off the field. This year, it's been the total opposite. Third downs and threes, we're able to actually get off the field. And like I said, handling adversity, working with what you got. You go into this last game against the Packers where we shut out the Packers offense in the second half with Adoree Jackson getting hurt. He came off the field. Fabian Moreau, who was already a backup, he came off the field. We were using practice squad guys, and Justin Lane, who is a practice squad corner, and also Nick McLeod, who's a practice squad corner. And we were able to produce the same way, not exactly because of their talent, but just because of the scheme that they were running. Like, everybody was in everybody was in sync. Everybody knew what they were doing. There wasn't a lot of confusion. I watch a lot of Giants film, and going back in the past 2 years, you always see somebody messing up downfield, right? Somebody is missing their assignment. They get crossed up on certain plays, but everybody looks like they're in sync. They're communicating at the line and things like that. I think Wink has done a really good job in making sure all of these guys are in congruence with each other. All these guys have the same mindset and the same, objective. And it's something huge to applaud Wink Martindale for, because our past defensive coordinator just couldn't get anything going with arguably, besides a couple of players, arguably a better
I would
roster,
say he had a better roster,
a better defensive roster, and Wink is doing just light years better in every statistical department for the defense.
Shout out to Wink, because y'all talked about him doing more with less, or him doing actually the same with less. Last year it was a different story, but last year was last year, so it's all good. Now, flipping to the offensive side of the ball, we know about Kadarius Toney. I think he's out. Know about Kenny Golladay. I think he's out as well. But there was a particular receiver on the Giants where there were rumors of him before the season started, rumors of him possibly being shipped off, possibly being traded, or possibly even being cut. And that was Darius Slayton. How has he been this season? 'Cause I know a lot of Ravens fans were high on Darius Slayton. They were like, "Oh, we should trade for Darius Slayton before the season starts." But how has he been this year so far?
Well, the first appearance you got of Darius Slayton really was last
week.
He's been a healthy scratch these past. We don't really know. Like, he hasn't been performing in practice, and that's something that's been
very concerning.
Concerning, but a theme of Darius Slayton in past years. He, even coming out of college, he was a 5th round pick for a reason. He had like nearly a 50% like catch rate in college. Like, it was just, he was literally boom or bust. He found a way to overcome that in 2019 in his rookie season.
In his rookie year. And then it just like he fell back into old problems after 2020. Let's not forget, Darius Slayton, to give the man some credit, as a rookie 5th round pick, had over 700 yards receiving for us. Yeah. And was our best receiver in 2019. Yeah, for 2 years. 2020, he also
led the Giants in receiving.
But yeah, he kind of got the Evan Ingram syndrome at some point down the line and started dropping almost every ball that came his way. And like KB said, last week was really the first appearance. Whether it was because of injury, we don't know, or if because the coaches were kind of, I don't even know if punishing is the right word, but they felt he didn't earn the right to start.
Right.
Because we didn't see Darius Slayton really at all throughout the first 4 weeks of the season. It was week 5, and you know what? He showed up. KB, go ahead.
He did show up, and his talent is like undoubtedly there. Like, he definitely has the talent. Like I said, it's the hands that's really the thing. And I think it's like you said, Coach, it's like, just he didn't really earn his time there. There's a lot of guys working hard there. I guess that's how Dable runs things over there. But his ability to create separation is there. Like, you could, it flashes all over the screen.
His main thing is his speed, right?
Yeah. So, he's a guy that beats you on a 9 route or crossing routes. Like, that's what he's there for. And I think hopefully he plays in this game, because he's definitely gonna be a big focal point of the passing offense, especially against a really good secondary or a really good cornerback duo, rather in Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters. And hopefully he can do something, because other than that, it's pretty thin.
And who has been Giants' top receiver this year so far?
Richie James. Richie James, the 4th, Kush? The fourth? Gotta make sure we say his name right.
Okay.
Gotta make sure
if we listed in order, right, Ingraven, so Kenny Golladay is supposed to be our number 1, but he's a professional bank robber, and he's also injured.
Come on.
Kadarius Toney is supposed to be our number 2, and I love Kadarius Toney. He just seems to have the worst luck in the world. He's
always hurt, man.
Injured. Sterling Shepard was our number 3. I also love Sterling Shepard. He's a Giants legend at this point because of how long he's been with the team, but he just went out for the season.
For the year, yeah.
Wan'Dale Robinson was supposed to be our number 4. He was our 2nd round pick this year, wide receiver out of Kentucky.
He's hurt.
And he's been hurt for like basically 5 weeks now.
Since week 1.
Weeks. Oh, yeah, you're right. Since week 1. And then it was Darius Slayton, who, like we just talked about, didn't really get much snaps until week 5. And after Darius Slayton, it's Richie James. Our wide receiver 6 is currently the guy that's leading our team in receptions and yards. And then I would say it's David Sills, who is our current wide receiver 2. And then probably it's Marcus Johnson, the guy that got a couple snaps
I
last
didn't know
game, who's
he
a wide receiver
existed
3.
before last week, bro. Didn't know Marcus Johnson existed before last week, and yeah.
All right. So speaking of offense, you talked about the receivers, and we will talk about Saquon in a little bit. But there was one guy. I remember last season during the year, when Daniel Jones he had broke this long run. Was it last year where he broke the long run and he fell down?
That was the
Yeah,
year before. That
Year
was
before.
2020.
Year before.
But I do remember the last year there was a reporter, beat writer, I forgot what his name was and who it was. He wrote an article that talked about Daniel Jones and how Daniel Jones was actually faster than Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson. Speedy Daniel Jones, how has he been for the Giants this year? Because I mean, y'all
I
not
will
4-1
say-
for no reason.
I will say technically it's not a lie in terms of clock speed. Obviously Lamar is way
Point
more
two matters, bro. Point two.
Obviously, Lamar is way more agile and he has better acceleration. The only thing Daniel has on him is straight line speed, and it was when he was clocked. I think it was like some crazy, like 23 miles an hour.
Yeah,
Oh, 21?
21.2? Was it 21.2?
Something like that. And then like
that.
Lamar, I think was clocked, like you said, just a little 0.2 below. But in terms of Daniel Jones, it was one of the biggest topics for Giants fans entering this year, right? Because we didn't pick up his 5th-year option, Ingraven. We don't know what the quarterback situation is in the future, but this is undoubtedly the best version of Daniel Jones we've seen. It has a lot to do with Brian Daboll, our head coach, who's an offensive mastermind, and Mike Kafka, our offensive coordinator, who was the quarterback's coach in Kansas City, who helped develop Patrick Mahomes. So we have really two great quarterback whisperers. Shouldn't be a surprise, right? And then even though the receivers they're not the best, I should really be saying they're trash, but I would, let me not say that. You got the great help from Saquon Barkley coming back, who's looking, like a legit MVP candidate. And you have an offensive line that's great in the running game, which is one of Daniel Jones' strengths, and they're improving in the passing game. Go ahead, KB. You could take over in terms of how these coaches are just using his best strengths when it comes to quarterbacking.
Yeah, definitely his best strength. Obviously, RPO is something he's really good at. Bootlegs, able to utilize his legs. These are these like situations where you look at Daniel Jones's stats and you can't base your opinion off of his stats. I know a lot of people try to. He's one of the last, starting quarterbacks in passing yards. Only has 3 touchdowns on the year, 3 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions. It's really been pedestrian numbers, if not below that. And I would have to say you have to watch Daniel Jones play because it's different when he's out there. Like teams are actually trying to contain him, as far as utilizing his legs, and he actually has thrown really good balls. Like he's actually thrown really good passes. It's been obviously the lack of wide receiver production, lack of wide receiver talent that's really been holding him back. But when it comes to Daniel Jones, I really have not had a problem with him this season. We were talking about it on Young Guns just a moment ago. Watching Daniel Jones this season, there are probably less than 10 times where I said, man, that wasn't a good decision. Probably less than 5 times where I said, through 5 weeks where I said, Dan, that was a bad throw, or that was a bad decision.
He's made great throws. He's always been on the money with him, which was never a problem. Like he's always been an extremely accurate quarterback. It was decision making,
right,
which once again the coaches or Brian Daboll and Kafka, they're kind of cutting the field in half for him, making what is an easier read but still not such a simple offense where defenses could just read it immediately. They're doing a great job scheme wise where it's like I can't even explain it. And he's been a good quarterback for us.
And a big thing is that a lot of people aren't really talking about is his turnovers. A big thing in his rookie year, sophomore year. Anymore. A lot of people are talking about his Danny turnovers or whatever.
Or
whatever
Danny fumbles was the nickname.
Danny fumbles,
his
Danny
rookie
donations.
Year, what was it?
It
was 1.8 turnovers per game rookie year. Second year was 1.6. I keep forgetting what it was last year. It was somewhere around that 1.0 mark, and this year is down to 0.6 turnovers a game, I believe. So
yeah,
I mean, what else can you ask for?
He's had 20-something turnovers his rookie season. Every single year, it's dropped like exponentially.
Tremendously.
Now he's down to 3 turnovers the entire year. He has 2 interceptions, one fumble, and he's just been making really good decisions with the football. Like I said, there have only been a couple of plays where I said that was a bad decision. He's not putting himself in a position to make a turnover, to force a turnover. So, last year you could argue he could have had more, or the year before that you could argue he could have had more turnovers, just dropped interceptions or things like that, or fumbles that were recovered by us. But this year he's not even putting us in that situation at all. He's just been making on the money throws, and they're always really good decisions. They're always, he doesn't really, I guess you could say, doesn't really risk it too much. Not to say that he's so much of a safe quarterback, because he definitely makes some throws that fit into tight windows, but hasn't really, like I said, hasn't really put us in a position to really, I guess, criticize his decision making.
Okay. And that's what you want from your young quarterback. You want to see continuous improvements in a lot of different ways. Now, something that Kush brought out was about Mike Kafka. And he used to play quarterback in the league. And, yeah, he was a QB coach for the Chiefs a couple years ago. And now that you guys offensive coordinators, but something that he called him was the QB whisperer. Now, somebody who the QB often whispers to is the running back. And I'm sure Daniel Jones has had many conversations with one Saquon Barkley. How has Saquon Barkley been this season for the Giants? And has there been any games where he's been slowed down?
Has there?
Actually, has there? You know what's crazy? He had some crazy like plays in this past game, but that's the most he's been slowed down.
Yeah, I think
he had 13 carries, 70 yards.
70 yards, right? I think that's the most you could say he's been slowed down over
36 yards receiving or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I mean the guy leads the league in scrimmage yards right now. It doesn't look like that's going to change anytime soon. He was the leading rusher until Nick Chubb took it over this game, but I'm going to say I think he takes that lead back. He's on pace for like 2,600 scrimmage yards, something crazy like that, and 1,900 rushing yards. Him being on the field, just having Barkley on the back of his jersey is enough for defenses to pay attention to him, which you couldn't say you couldn't say since his rookie year. Him being on the field is such a plus for our offense, and he's better than 2018 Saquon. I'm going to let you talk about that, Gio, just how he's been running and what he's been doing that makes him better than 2018 Saquon.
I mean, yeah, you definitely said a lot that I agree with. When it comes to Saquon Barkley, he is definitely a different running back than 2018, his rookie year. And obviously that was his best season, like Kush just said. His best season was his rookie year because obviously 2019, 2020, 2021 injuries, right? And inconsistencies. He wasn't trusting his body. He wasn't really forcing himself into hitting the hole and stuff like that, dancing in the backfield. A lot, everyone knows the kind of talks about Saquon Barkley about him dancing in the backfield, but it's different this season. He's hitting the hole. He's taking whatever the defense or the defensive line gives him, whatever the offensive line opens up for him. That's something that he hasn't done at all in his entire career. Like, this is a totally different Saquon Barkley than we've ever seen, because he's actually like, it's weird that I'm saying this, but he's actually playing like a running back, like a straight up running back, where he's hitting the hole and running in between the tackles.
And he still has that ability to bounce. Like, he still bounces that outside for a big run.
He still does it. But Penn State Saquon Barkley, 2018 rookie year Saquon Barkley, did not run in between the tackles. He ran outside. Even on runs where it's designed inside, he would still bounce it outside, dance and stuff like that. This is a different Saquon Barkley. I don't know. Okay. Like he said in the beginning of this year, he's out for everybody. He's out for all the haters. He's out to get everybody, and he's showing it this year. This is a different Saquon than we've ever seen, honestly.
And speaking of a different Saquon Barkley, I think there's certainly been a different Giants team too. Said Saquon Barkley said he out there for all the haters, but people that hated the New York Giants going into this year, a lot of people have been eating their words as the Giants sit at 4-1. But after this game, do you all think the Giants' record changes in a negative or a positive way? How do you think this game is going to go?
You better not change what we said on the podcast, KB.
I'm not. I guess I'll go first since I had the negative response. So, as much as I'm really like proud of this football team, because I think as a fan base, I can speak for the fan base. I don't think there was any, like, I guess 95% of us really thought that this was just going to be a rebuilding year. We're going to, see what the bright spots are. We loved Brian Dable. We loved Kafka and Wink, but we knew that this team, as far as the roster goes, probably wasn't the most talented. We weren't going to go too many places, but we thought there were going to be some bright spots. Going into this game, even though we're 4-1, I feel like this is a game that we are going to drop. We can't win them all, as much as this is I guess a magical season for us. We can't win them all. I'm going to say we drop this game just because of the way Lamar Jackson has been playing so far this season. He's really impressed me.
Yeah, you talk
really
about, or I
stepped
should
up
say,
his
I
game.
talk about Saquon being MVP. Lamar.
Yeah, Lamar
like
Jackson is
would say
definitely
that could
in
actually
those
win it,
talks
yeah.
as well. He's really stepped up his game as a passer, and really just being a true dual threat QB. He's playing great. You talked about a little bit about their struggles in the run game, but I mean, with Lamar Jackson there, they're always a threat in the run game. And I feel like if this game gets anywhere over 23 points, this is going to be a struggle for the Giants. And we all know Lamar Jackson and the offense are very capable of scoring over 20 points and over, around 30 as well. So I feel like it'll get a little bit out of hand for us. And so I had the Giants win like a 30-17 type game. I mean, the Ravens
losing,
winning
you mean?
Yeah, Ravens. The Ravens winning a 30-17 type game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
For me, I agree with a lot of what Kid Blue is saying. The Ravens game is the scariest game on the schedule so far. And honestly, looking at it, other than Philadelphia, it probably is like the most terrifying game this year. I know we lost to Dallas, but I'm comfortable with them. It's a divisional game. But with the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, he's just on another level this year. And if there's any way we lose, it's going to be from one of those Herculean-esque quarterback performances from Lamar. And then, like, he can do it. Like, that's the thing. We know he can do it. I agree with KB. It could get out of hand if we try and get it, if this game becomes a shootout. But I'm going to go with the Giants here. I mentioned on the podcast we just came off of that I'm a little bit of a superstitious guy when it comes to football, and I've been picking the Giants the entire year. And for the most part, it's been working. For the most part, it's been working. But I will say this to back my claim up and not just completely out of fandom. We are the number one rushing offense in the NFL. That is because of Saquon Barkley, of course. It's also because of Daniel Jones. The Ravens, from what I've learned, they're not terrible in run defense, but they've struggled against running backs, and Saquon is probably the best running back they're going to face this year. And other than Josh Allen, I'd say Daniel Jones would be the second most mobile quarterback they're facing this year. And I think even more so in terms of importance to this game for the Giants is second half performances and second half adjustments. The two games the Ravens lost were blown leads, where in the second half they sort of just collapsed. And they've shown in other games, not necessarily that they would collapse, but they're just struggling in the second half to put up points and to stop the other team from scoring. Another thing that the Giants lead the league in, not just rushing, is that we're the best second half team in the league with a plus 39 point differential, number one in the NFL. We score most of our points in the second half, and we shut down most of the teams in the second half. So that's another plus for us. If we win this game, it's going to be because of those two factors. And with a score prediction for the Giants win, yeah, it's going to be a little bit more low scoring. I'd say like 24-17.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see how it goes real soon. But anyway, I appreciate both of y'all coming on. Shout out to Kush. Shout out to Kid Blue. Much love to the both of y'all. Y'all make sure y'all check out both of their YouTube channels. And
Darius.